When I finally decided to have bunion surgery, I thought the hardest part was over. I knew the technique I wanted, I knew what kind of recovery I was aiming for, but once I understood what kind of surgery I needed, I realized that this option simply wasn't available in my country. That's how I ended up having my surgery in Italy, and that's how my story turned into something much bigger than a medical decision. It practically became a journey involving research, planning, real patient stories, and finally a plane ticket to Italy. So, if you're wondering where did I have my bunion surgery, who operated on me, how did I choose the doctor and the clinic, this video will answer everything. Hello and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Roxana and I share real life experiences from my own journey, many of them related to health and well-being, but shaped by my perspective as a biochemist. On this channel, I don't give medical advice and I don't want to replace doctors. What I try to do instead is share honest, lived experiences combined with a scientific understanding of what's happening in the body so that you can feel more prepared when facing similar decisions yourself. Over time, I've learned that understanding a medical process before going through it can completely change how you experience it, both physically and mentally. In one of my previous videos, I explained how, after dealing with bunions for a very long time, I decided on an ultra minimally invasive bunion surgery performed under local anesthesia and without metal fixation. Once that decision was clear, the next step became obvious. The question was no longer if I would have the surgery, but where and with whom. At the time I made the decision, the technique I was looking for simply wasn't available in my country, or at least not in a form that matched all my criteria. And I wanted to be very clear here. This isn't a criticism. Medical practices evolve differently from country to country, and not every technique is available everywhere at the same time. In my case, my requirements were very specific, and I had to accept the reality that I would need to look beyond my own country. I wasn't looking for medical tourism or for cheapest options. I was looking for a very specific surgical approach and for a surgeon who had real experience with it. As I continued my research, Italy quickly stood out. Percutaneous bunion surgery is widely practiced there, with a long track record and a lot of experience behind it. Medically, it felt the right direction. Logistically, it also made sense, even though it wasn't the only country where this type of surgery was available. But at that point, Italy became the natural focus of my search. Choosing to have surgery abroad didn't just mean understanding the procedure itself. It meant organizing the entire journey around it. Travel, accommodation, timing, follow-up visit. Practically, it added an extra layer of complexity to the entire experience. This decision wasn't just medical anymore. It was logistical as well, because I had to plan carefully, to think ahead, to accept that this would be more demanding than having surgery close to home. One of the most important steps in this process was finding real patients, people who had already been through this surgery and were willing to share their experience. That led me to an Italian Facebook group focused entirely on bunion surgery. And for the first time, I wasn't just reading articles or clinic websites. I could ask real questions and get honest answers from people who had lived through the experience. What helped me the most was seeing familiar names, surgeons I had contacted, mentioned by patients who had actually been operated on by them. That gave me a completely different level of confidence and perspective. The group didn't make the decision for me, but it helped me validate my research. In total, I spoke with 3 surgeons before making my final choice, and those conversations were much easier because of all the discussions I had over the years with doctors back home when the surgery was just theoretical option, but they help me to ask better questions, to understand the answer more clearly, and to recognize what truly mattered to me. And what I paid the most attention wasn't just the technique itself, but the way each doctor communicated with me. Did they take the time to understand my case? Did they ask for my x ray? Did they explain things clearly and honestly? At some point, it stopped being about credentials on paper and starts being about trust. The doctor I ultimately chose took the time to review my case carefully, confirm that I was a suitable candidate for the technique I wanted, and explained everything in a way that made me feel calm and confident. And that's when I knew I had made the right choice. My surgery was performed in Rome, and the doctor who operated on me was Dr. Lucia Bondi. Beyond her medical skill, what stood out was her humanity. The way she communicated with me, the way she made sure that I felt safe, the way she supported me through the entire process. With her, I felt completely safe. And one detail that meant a lot to me was that she considered the fact that I was coming from abroad. She didn't assume everything would be easy. As for the clinic, after discussing different options with my doctor, I chose Madonna della Fiducia, and I hope this is the correct pronunciation. I'm deeply grateful to the clinic staff for the care, for the professionalism, and the kindness they showed to me through the entire experience. Choosing to have surgery abroad isn't about running away from your own country. It's about being honest with yourself about what you need and being willing to go where the option exists. For me, this decision required more research, more organization, more responsibility, but it also gave me clarity and peace of mind. Looking back, I know I would make the same choice again. I'm sharing all of this not to tell anyone what they should do, but to show how this decision unfolded for me. In this series of videos about my bunion surgery, I'll share everything, literally everything. No hiding, no shortcuts, no vague information, just real full experience from the beginning to the end. And if you're in a similar situation right now, maybe you're scared, overwhelmed, or just trying to make the right decision, and I truly hope my journeys help you to feel more informed. Also, for those who prefer having everything organized in one place, I'm working on a book that will soon be available on Amazon, a practical guide with checklist, with clear explanation, and all the details I wish I had before my surgery. So, if you want to follow this journey with me, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.